I don't know anything.
Not much. I mean, I've heard of it.
Sailing? Like the sport? No, I don't know anything about it.
Not that much.
Sailing, I know that it's in water and that you need the wind to make it go.
I used to sail when I was younger. I used to go to camp and I sailed a lot with my sister, and it was a lot of fun. It's kind of dangerous. Yes.
No, I did not.
I knew rowing was an Olympic sport, but that's like different.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was in San Francisco like a year or so ago. Yeah. Someone died.
Yes.
I did know it's an Olympic sport.
No, I didn't know it was an Olympic sport.
I did not know that, but that's really cool.
No, I did not. That's awesome.
I did not.
No.
No, I didn't know that.
I did know we had a sailing team. I haven't heard much about it, but I did hear about it. It sounds interesting.
I started sailing when I was 7, right before I turned 8. Didn't do team sport things very well, so I started at that age, and partially because my parents told me I should, and it was fun.
I started sailing this summer because some of my friends were doing it and it seemed pretty cool.
I started at PYSF January of last year, and I started because I like it.
I started sailing about 3 years ago because my friends were doing it and I thought it'd be fun, and ever since then I've just really enjoyed it.
High school sailing is year-round.
There's a practice after school from 3:30 to 6:30.
I usually go 3 to 4 times a week if there's a competition on the weekends.
There's camps you can take in the summer to improve your sailing for the competition.
Crews balance out the boat and you control the jib, which is like the front sail.
As a skipper, you have to keep the boat moving forward.
The skipper is the one who's holding the tiller, who's actually in control of where the boat is going, and the skipper is also the one that's typically in charge, gets to decide where they go.
The skipper steers the boat and operates the mainsail, and the crew operates the secondary sail or the jib and does all the control lines inside the boat. And they also have to keep it steady and balance it.
Capsize is when you flip the boat over, and it's basically you're sailing along normally, and then there's a ton of power, and the sail goes into the water, which stops it from making power, as you can guess, and you have to put the boat back upright, which is also very hard.
A regatta is a sailing race where multiple teams and boats come and compete on a race course, and usually that happens several times throughout the day, and it carries on over the weekend. We compete against teams all around California.
Well, you have to rig it, so you have to put the sails up with lines that are called halyards. On a boat, nothing is called a rope. There are lines, halyards, sheets. No, none of the ropes are called ropes. So you put the sails up with halyards, make sure all the sheets are tied in properly, make sure that all your control lines, which control like all the specific parts of the sail, are in the correct position for the sailing conditions. And then you put the rudder in, centerboard down, and there you go.
Well, you have to know where the wind's coming from, current, other boats, wave height, all that stuff.
It is hard. You have to be conscious of where the wind is, conscious of where other boats are and where they are going, because if you're not conscious of that, they can easily mess you up by blocking all of your air.
Up here and where we practice, like at Redwood City Port, it's usually not that windy, but it really depends on the day and the time of year.
I'd say sailing's more of a mental sport because you have to think 5 steps ahead if you want to win your race or your heat. It's really tactical and you really need to study the course and learn which side is best and where you want to turn. There's so many factors that go into it, you really need to have a sharp mind to compete.
I would say being a crew is more physical, but it also really depends on how windy it is and other factors like that.
So the wind plays a huge role because it is the essence of the sport. It's where your power comes from. It's how you move, and if there's no wind, then you can't move.
I think it's really different, and I don't think a lot of people do it.
The thing about sailing is you get to feel the real natural power of the wind and the water, and hopefully not swim in the water too much.
So it's a co-ed sport, and a lot of it is about mental strength versus physical strength.
I really like it when it's high wind and it's stressful and you have to be leaning out the boat the entire time to try to steady it. It's really exciting, and I think that's the best part of sailing.
There's also a not contact thing about it. I mean, you still hit other boats, that still happens, and it's very frustrating, but you don't rely on it as a method of winning, say in football. If anything, any contact, even if it's their fault, slows you down.
I'd say, so the team that I sailed with, there were 3 people on the boat, and being able to kind of, sometimes Olympic campaigning in any sport can become a little bit of a grind. You know, it turns into a job almost, and you have to show up and do all the gym work and the studying and all that. And we managed to keep it fun and light and do really well at the same time. And I think that was sort of my biggest takeaway, that, you know, the sport is as awesome and as difficult as you want to make it. But at the end of the day, it's the people that you're sailing with and the people on your team that make it super enjoyable.
You can't hit other boats.
Yes, there are a lot of rules in sailing, and they're very important to regattas.
If you hit other boats, you have to spin 2 circles, and if you're in first place, that can be really, really bad because you'll be in 10th place after you finish a circle. If you're gonna hit someone, make it their fault.
I think it depends on how seriously you take it. Like, some people think it's really serious, but like, it's mostly just like a fun thing to do.
There are some really good people who sail. If you get into the higher fleets, it gets really hard and very, very competitive. Lower levels are not so competitive, but they're not supposed to be. So if you work your way up, it gets very, very difficult.
Depending on the regatta or sailing race, it can get really competitive or not at all competitive, and also depending on who you're sailing with. Some people take it really, really seriously, other people don't as much.
It's as competitive as you want to make it. You know, you can do sailing as a leisure sport and just go have fun with your friends, or you can, you know, be cutthroat and show up to practice and want to win every drill and win every practice. So it's at every level. You know, do you want to go and just sail at practice and not really go to a competition, or do you want to eventually make it the Olympics and represent your country?
We've done pretty well. Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
We've been doing okay. The team is new, so we're not like first place or anything like that, but we have some very good sailors on our team that have done very well at some regattas. But we're a new team, so we have relatively inexperienced sailors. Eventually, we'll be able to get much better once we have a few years of experience.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this next year. It's awesome.
Yeah, I will continue sailing on the team next year. I can only do it in fall due to other sports activities, but I love sailing and I love doing it and competing.
Sailing is a ton of fun, yeah. It's like my sport.
Yes, of course. I would sail next year because it's one of those few sports that I actually can do pretty decently. And I also like the idea of sailing more. I'm not in for the contact sports and such. I like the whole mental aspect of sailing. So yes, I would sail next year.
I'm really, our coaches are amazing. I'm really glad to have the opportunity to have an Olympic athlete as our coach.
I started sailing when I was a kid with my family. The first time I sailed by myself, I was 8. I started coaching when I was in high school, actually, just kind of for fun. You know, you're helping your high school team out, getting the people around you better. And then I started coaching kind of professionally. When I graduated college, I was campaigning, and I coached the Naval Academy in Annapolis. I do. I love it. I did a bunch of racing when I was a little kid, when I was like 8, 9, 10. And then I actually didn't think sailing was that much fun competitively. You know, I liked cruising around with my friends, but I didn't like the racing. So I left sailing for a while and I came back when I was in high school because my high school had a team, and I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll try it out. And so it's nice to be on the other end, seeing everybody join high school team now and getting people into it. And so it's nice. It's super fun. Nothing's quite as cool as, getting the American flag all over your sails and knowing you were chosen to represent everybody that sails this type of boat, everyone that does this sport. And you're going to hopefully, make everybody at home super proud. Pretty cool, very humbling. You quickly feel small when you get these emails and letters from people from all over the world, and people asking for your autograph. It's kind of funny. You're like, I'm a sailor, but it's cool. It's very nice. It's very humbling. It's very gratifying because it takes a lot of hard work to get there, and so to be able to say, okay, we made it, and and we're still trying to get better every day. It's a cool feeling. Sailing in college, just like at the high school, it's super fun. There are people from all over the country that do it, and you can do it on any level. You could be the rock star that's recruited, or you could be the walk-on that's, you used to be a swimmer and you didn't want to wake up at 5 a.m. anymore, and so you join the sailing team. I'm hoping that all of our kids at least check out schools that potentially have sailing teams for them.
Depending on where I go to college, not all colleges have a sailing team. If I'm on a coastline college like Santa Cruz or something like that, then I'll love to sail in college.
I would definitely sail in college if that was an option, yeah.
I hope to sail in college, so I hope I take it very seriously so that I can get very good, because the college sailing teams are really good. So if I want to use that to help me get into college, I have to be a very good sailor.